god. So we're finally back. I know we've been having like lots and lots of delays. There's been like Evo. There's just been a whole bunch of other stuff going on, you know. So it's been quite a few. It's been quite a bit since our first episode here. But we back.
Yeah,
It also didn't
back.
help. It also didn't help. I got freaking COVID last week. I'm at like the very, very tail end of it. All I have is like a small cough. Yeah, I'm all good. Like I recovered in like less than a week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right, send some love to Ember, guys. You know, she
I
trudged
O2 that
on
shit.
through.
I
You
O2 that shit.
that shit. What did she mean by this?
Or 2-0 or whatever side that's winning.
You cleared.
Still-
You're
yeah,
just
still
waiting for the
COVID
last
break.
game. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But so what are y'all's thoughts? Let's just cut to the bread and butter. What are y'all's thoughts on Strive season 3 so far? From what little we could see.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm surprised at the quality of the footage is what I'll say. I love everybody who went out to VSF versus fighting and they were just like, okay, cool, we have the setups. Let's try and document some stuff, get some stuff out on the Twitter timeline for other people to analyze, which is super sick. So thank you guys for sending over that footage. We don't have the patch notes right now, obviously. We're waiting on them.
Yeah.
You know, but it's cool that we got to kind of do the classic retro found footage style. Oh, this move looks a little shorter. This move looks a little faster. Oh, do you have a 60 FPS camera so we can frame count? So it's cool kind of bringing the community together in that sense. That being
Yeah.
said, some of y'all got to upgrade the cameras.
Yeah, some of y'all.
100% real with
Yeah,
you.
some of those pretty
360p in 2023, that is not the way.
Yeah.
But either way,
No,
I
not-
appreciate
not-
the help.
Not the way. I will say though, honestly, like this was probably the best way to tease a patch ever. Like, cause honestly, cause like basically when all the footage started coming out, I was up at like 6 a.m. just like looking through all the shit. And I went out and I streamed at like 9 a.m. just going through all the footage, and I wrote like my own what I call ghetto patch notes. Of just kind of like what I found, and it was one of the most fun streams I have ever had. Like when I get a stream where I'm like so excited to stream, I'm like streaming at like 9:30 in the morning. That's when I know it's fucking good.
Mhm.
Like, oh my god, last time I did that was for when Sin came out, you know. And it's so cool that they teased the patch that way. I know there's a lot of people who had like opinions on it. There were people who were thinking like, oh, they should have just released the patch notes. Why didn't they just release the patch notes? And it's like, but instead they just decided, they're like, you know what? We're just gonna give the build out, or at least put the build out on a cab in this event, and y'all just go to town. Y'all figure it out yourselves. And something about that's really fun, and kind of like what Jaytsu said, it's like really retro and like old school, right? You know, and kind of like chaotic.
Mhm.
There's something about it that's
Yeah.
chaotic that I really fucking love. You know, but I'll say this. Man, Sin Change is looking good. Ooh, we about to
I haven't
cook.
even seen anything for him.
There
I saw a
has
couple notes. I don't know if they're 100% accurate, but it seems like
Yeah.
he's gotten some nice quality of life stuff across the board. So
yeah,
I'm
it sounds like he
hoping for
just
him.
it sounds like he just has better frame data, which is really
That's
kind of
good.
all he needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I heard they retracted the hurt box on what is it? Beak Driver? Is that
yeah,
the name?
they
The
made
long-range
the
folks,
Beak Driver a disjoint.
Oh,
So Beak Driver's a
that's big.
disjoint.
Yeah.
So that's like,
That's pretty nice. Okay.
yeah, that's gonna be solid. And you know, Far Slash is actually useful, goes farther, and I think it's a little quicker. His 6P looked faster based on the footage. I'm not sure. It's just, and I think his overhead hoof stomp
Mhm.
goes out faster. It's just
Okay.
there's generally less gaps, and there's like more and it's just better frame data for him. Because that was
Yeah.
his problem, was that like literally everything about him was fake. He didn't really have
Yeah.
much pressure. And so it's like I go against someone who like knows that, and I just fold. Like when someone knows all the gaps, it's like, all right, this is done.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, because it's so easy. He was so easy to punish. He was so easy to punish. It was laughable. But a lot of
No, it
us
seems like he's eating good now, though. Hopefully,
he
we'll see.
is, yeah. And you know, I mean, listen, you got to give credit to like all the Sin players that have been cooking in season 2, have been just like strutting through it. You know, Blue Heck, Pixelated Max, you know, Sauce Q. You know, there's a few of us. There's a few of us. There's like five. There's like five
There's a
Sin
few of
players.
Like a good 4 or
And
5.
and I think Sajam plays Sin too, from what I understand. But
He's been hoping for Sinbus for a little bit now. Every time he looks at the character, he's like, guys, you know me. I'm not a doomer about the video game. I'm just trying to play. That being said, Sin, not the strongest video game character I've ever played. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I understand, Mr. Sage. I get
Yeah.
it.
He's really not great.
Yeah. He's not awesome yet.
Yeah, he's really not.
no.
He's on his way though.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, absolutely. Like I am so I'm so excited for the patch, and also like from what there's been stuff about Soul coming out, and honestly, like I think that Wild Assault was what he needed. Like, cause I felt like with Soul, you know, it wasn't necessarily that he was like too weak or too strong or whatever.
Mhm.
I just felt like I just felt like whenever I played Soul, I couldn't help but feel like he just felt incomplete. There was something about him that just felt incomplete. And I feel like Wild Assault and having that extra, just having like one extra tool for him to work with, I think really makes him feel like a more complete character, you know? Because it's like, I hate to be that person to like compare it to previous games, but it's like you do play Soul in like Exerd or Accent Core, and it's like he definitely has like more, like a lot more moves and stuff to work with, and it's like, okay, you know, like and it's like you play him in Strive, and it's like he just feels like there's a lot less there, you know. So just having like one more move for him to work with, I think I think that alone is just enough, and it looks really exciting to work with, and I can't wait to lab him out. Like, I think I'm gonna be playing a solid bit of both Soul and Sin next patch. Like, I think I'm definitely going to be going with both characters. Like, I'm just going to kind of cycle both of them depending on like how I do with the matchups or whatever. What are your thoughts going into season 3, like on Chip and stuff? Ogre.
He looks almost the exact same. the biggest change was 6K's 28 frames now instead of 20
Oh
frames.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
they did that for all the overhead 6Ks. They're all universal. They're all plus on block, but they're 28 frames. But besides that, I have seen like really no changes for him at all. That's the only one I think I've seen.
Yeah, I think his like 6K is slower or something.
Yeah, his 6K
Yeah.
is slower.
Yeah, the 28
That's
framer.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 28 frames. So that's the only thing I've seen. I've
Yeah.
heard that. Actually, no, there's another thing.
His
If you can-
Shuriken.
That also looked the exact same to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
And yeah, because I booted up the game when I saw that, and I did Shuriken and was just comparing it to the video. I'm like, these look literally
Looks similar to
exact
me,
same.
Yeah, and that's what's so funny, and I can't figure this out. Like when people were posting the Axel changes, saying
Yeah,
like
We
his
got
normal.
gaslit as a community. That was insane. I can't believe it. How did we all get confused into thinking,
Well,
oh man,
it just looks
they shortened
so.
the range?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
guess it's
because
the angle, right? Because they were off
Yeah.
to the side, so
Yeah, it
the
was
screen
the
itself
angle.
is shorter because they were off at the angle. But it was like, oh, Axel
Well-
has a longer. But if you like just look at the actual HP bars, they were like, wait, most of this is the same. I think JP, from what I heard, was the only one that got like changed range wise, and I think there was some frame data changes. But like,
Yeah.
aside from that, I gotta admit, I got. I
I did
also
too.
thought the Axel moves got shorter.
Yeah. I think like I think what they did, because I think when
Mhm.
you now don't quote me on this because I don't play Axel, but I think when
Uh-huh.
you tap his normals, they come out shorter, right?
I'm
No,
not sure.
no,
Not
no.
that I know of.
No,
No.
No.
that's not a thing. No.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, oh, maybe they were like trying to like make it look shorter or whatever. Okay.
That would be an interesting choice if they added that, but I don't think, in this current patch, I don't think they have it. But
No.
I saw a couple quicker recoveries on, I want to say 2H looks a little bit faster to make its way back up, but could be wrong on that one. We got to
Yeah.
wait for the patch notes. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's been very funny opening up Twitter and seeing like a different 360p video and trying to see everyone be like an investigator about it. It's been fun in its own way. I'm fine with it. I can wait for the actual patch. So it's like I think it's mad funny, like, you know, everybody pulling up being like, "No, you know, I counted the frames, and assuming this is a 24 FPS video, we interpolate to 60 frames per second by adding this multiple." I'm like, dude, what's going on? Just say the moves faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't show the work. We have patch notes coming in like a few days. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. You know, so at the end of the day, we will be getting patch notes to break everything down. My hope, I just hope, I'm hoping they either put them out like today or tomorrow. You know, because the patch is coming out in like 4 days, and it's like, if this is all they're leaving us with until then, that's a little too cruel.
Wait, what if they just didn't give us patch notes?
Well, they just
I shouldn't say that. No, they're gonna listen. There's an ArcSys employee in this space right now, and they're just like, you know what? You're right. You're spitting. If that's what the community wants, we'll do it. No. I promise you, it's not what they want. Please, give us the damn notes.
Give us the damn notes. It was so funny. Fucking this morning, I looked at Twitter. Fucking Lurie got me by posting the previous patch, and saying, "Oh my god, the notes are out."
Every time, it's the classic.
It pissed me off, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take that link and I'm gonna bait it even harder on my Twitter.
You're continuing the cycle of abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not get. I saw both of those, but I did not.
Yeah. It's like I have. I'm like, listen, listen, if they're gonna do me bad, because this happened to me in season 2 too. Where like I got with the. I'm like, you know what? And I'm like, you know what? This community bringing me down. I'm bringing them down with me. You know?
Oh my god, that's evil. They said, well, I got, but I got to share the experience with the rest of the community, is I guess what you were thinking when you were like, yeah, V 1.18. Dude, I looked at it and I was like, oh, that released in June. Haha, that's pretty funny. That's from June 2022. That's like version 1.24. Why that patch showed in particular? Jesus.
I'm seeing all the sad faces in speaker.
Yeah. Literally me.
Chat, yeah.
Literally me.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I understand. I did y'all bad. It is what it is.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was fucking
Everyone's
hilarious.
gotta do it once or twice every patch.
Yeah.
Everyone does. But speaking of which, what are your thoughts on Anji's changes? I feel like out of every character, Anji's changes were the most controversial.
I think he's gonna suck.
So what's really weird
is not allowed to be good.
What's really weird is everyone's like telling me that like it's like the people, even the person who posted the clip told me, oh, it's not that bad when you look at Wild Assault and everything. Like there's I guess Massive Cope. It could be either Massive Hope or Massive Cope about. I'm not sure. But someone posted actually like a really smart YouTube comment about it. Let's see, where the fuck is it? I'm trying to find that
smart YouTube comment. That is that's a diamond in the rough. I'm
it was
incredibly rare.
So where the fuck? It was Bikin, Milia. Oh yeah. So this person said Anji's new move off spin is full invuln, beats DPs, throws, and PRC. If you block it, it's a guard crush, so he's plus. And it hard knocks down, so he can get Oki off it. With the new Shin stuff with the projectiles, he can get cross-ups of his butterfly Oki now, which he gets from his full invuln move. He gets from a strike invuln move that essentially guarantees it's his turn if you don't have a DP. You have to late DP to beat it, so it forces committal to a risky option from the opponent and guarantees his turn. Losing the counter hit stuff with the context of the current game is huge for what the game is about to look like. If you think he got nerfed because of the counter hit stuff, you're wildin'. That's what Anji Copers are saying right now.
That's what they're saying.
All right, now that sounds like Cope. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it is. It is, dude.
It's phrased like Cope. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not an Anji believer, but I could be wrong. It's happened once or twice in my life.
It was. I mean, they're really digging hard. I will say that. Like, it's like I'm like, you know what? I'm like that sounds like that might be good. Like, I don't know. my boyfriend plays Anji, so he's gonna do a little bit of labbing when he
Mhm.
comes out. But
Mm.
he kind of told me, he's like, oh, it's not looking good.
I'm
It's
waiting
not
on
looking-
Coblin to tell me if it's over or if Anji is so back. He's gonna be
I'm
my
not.
sole decider there.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Have to find out. What are your thoughts on? Are you still Eno gang, Jaytsu?
I am still Eno gang. She has a funny new move.
The new
She has
move.
the advancing guard crush mid.
It sounds
Which,
awful. It's awful.
I was like, why? She already has guard crush on Fortissimo, so I'm wondering why
Mhm.
they added it to her. But she also she moves so far across the screen. It's like mad funny. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The routing off of it too looks like ridiculous. You can do a fast PRC off of it too. I'm okay with it. Even if it's not a useful move, that shit's funny. I want to use it like every match.
Yeah, no, that stuff looks it looks terrible to be on the receiving end of, and as someone
Mhm.
who has been struggling with the Eno matchup, I'm going to be struggling with it even more with
Mhm.
that. Adding another a guard crush for her to use, another tool for her toolkit to just mix me up even more. That's all. That's the
Guard
last.
Crush
That's the last thing I
2023,
need.
baby.
Last thing I need. Last thing I need.
Yippee! Guard Crush 2023. Yippee!
As it goes. As it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Speaking of guard crush,
Oh no.
Nago 6H does that
No!
now.
Yeah!
Yeah.
And
Why did he need it? Why
Blade
did he
hits
need
low.
it?
You didn't. Every Nago main I've talked to is just like, I really don't know why this character is getting buffed. He didn't need all this stuff.
I think it's mad funny that all the Nagos are like, yeah, we'll take it. We're not complaining. That being said,
Yeah.
we didn't need it. 6H OTG is no longer an option since you can't do special cancel
You
off of
can't
6H.
special it anymore.
But
Yeah.
if you're able to get the guard crush off of it, and now because the second hit of DP Shizuruyuki is an overhead and
Mhm.
Beyblade is a low. So if you block the first hit of DP, then they can go into the follow-up for high, or they can go into Beyblade for low. So I know that has been a polarizing change, to say the least.
Very polarizing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I listen. The thought of like Nago mix up and Nago guard crush is absolutely terrifying. I'm
Yeah, I think he's gonna
actually
be, like,
terrified.
insane. I think he's gonna be insane next patch. I think he'll probably like go back into the top 3 next patch.
I believe it, yeah.
Because he's insane.
Yeah,
with those
top 3
changes.
easily.
Yeah, like
And-
those are crazy.
And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they just didn't touch Happy Chaos.
No, they did. There's some stuff.
Like
I don't know if there's a lot of people who know how to lab Happy Chaos.
I mean,
Probably.
that's
that was
it.
one
Well,
of the
we
first
had
one of them,
Tiger
so,
Pop
you know.
there.
They did.
Oh yeah, Tiger Pop I think
Yeah.
was busy the first day or two, and
well,
then he started labbing. So.
But Tiger Pop was there, but he didn't want to lab too much because he didn't want to like mess with his muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Alright, I'm sharing I didn't know you could share a post with the space, but there is I don't even know where to find it. I don't know where you actually see it, but I'm also gonna drop it in our group chat because this is.
Oh my God, that's really cool. I didn't know you did
I've
that.
seen that.
Yeah, that's yeah,
It's so
that's
good.
that's a pretty apt summary of it.
Oh, it shows up at the top. Yo.
Yeah, it
That's so
does.
sick. All right, cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they've been really adding a lot more features to Twitter Spaces. I'm pretty
Yeah.
or X Spaces. I don't know what the fuck you
Oh
call
my
it.
god.
X-
Well, I'm still
SpaceX's?
saying
No.
Twitter. I'm still saying Twitter.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
listen
kill
with this
Twitter.
new patch. There was a lot of X videos we had to go through. You know what I mean?
No. I hate it here. I hate it here.
Oh my god, what a world we live in. Anyways,
I'm saying.
how? So I know, like last episode, it was interrupted with Evo. How was y'all's Evo? Because I know both
It
of
was
you
pretty
were.
good.
It
There
was very
were
fun.
no casual setups.
No.
Which I'm
No.
sure is something that you have like heard from multiple people around the venue. The venue was super fun. They had a lot of different areas. Obviously, the obligatory artist alley, which had a lot of VTuber merch. I'll tell you what, I spent a
Mhm.
non-zero amount of money grabbing some keychains for some friends. But it was cool. They had
Jaytsu
artist
trap.
alley. Obviously, it was cool. I'm sure you guys have probably seen the Sage Jam tour video of the Evo venue already, and or for Ogre, obviously been there yourself.
Yeah,
But they hid a Project L arcade cabinet over there in the arcade side. So it was funny because I lined up the first day, played Project L. We happened to talk to one of the devs, and they were like, "Oh, it's a open secret that in the arcade area there may or may not be, you know, some extra cabs for a certain game in beta. We're like, are you saying there's a Project L arcade cabinet? He's like, I'm not saying anything in particular. And then we just ran over and we were like, holy shit, they just hid this here and didn't tell anyone? It was pretty insane. I think by day 2, people had mostly figured out that it was there, but still the line was a lot shorter. So very cool. Got to see a lot of people, but it was a packed venue, you know, so it was hard to see everyone you wanted to see.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ogre?
Yeah, Evo, it was a great time for me. I ended up placing 25th in Strive.
Let's
Hey.
I
go!
was a round away from top 24.
NT.
It was unfortunate, but yeah. My highlight was beating an extremely skilled player. I will not name drop who I beat, but if you know, you know. I was extremely happy to beat them, and it was to get into top 96 winners.
God damn.
Like that, the tournament was absolutely stacked, but it was a great time overall.
Solid. Yeah,
for sure.
So I know like for myself, I actually have never been to an offline major before, and I'm going to my first one, East Coast Throwdown. Finally confirmed. Yeah. So I it's my first like fighting game event ever, actually, because I don't even have that much of a local scene here. So it's like I don't know what to expect. I've been to like anime conventions, so I don't know like how similar it is to that. I know you mentioned like artist alleys.
Yeah.
Like what was your first offline major like?
The first offline, the first one that I went to was Frosty's, which was it was cool. It was this year. I got to, you know, it's a cool experience finally getting to see so many people in the same space that, you know, you talk to on Discord, you shit talk on Twitter, etc., etc. Finally being able to put names and voices to faces is very cool. I think for Frosty's in particular, their main ballroom was a little crowded. The venue was a little smaller, and then I think a lot of the other majors. But because it was my first, I was like, oh, cool, so many people in one room. Cool. I guess, you know, majors are just, they're so popular. I guess this is how it is. And then obviously, you know, in my brain rotted state, I scroll Twitter and they're just like, man, all the setups are so close together. There's no room in the venue. Grah. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess this is not the standard.
Typical.
But either way, you know, you have the, if you're not Evo, you have casual setups, which is cool. You have all the tournament setups, which you can walk around and, you know, spectate games that are off stream. And then, of course, there's like the stream viewing area, which is usually just like a bunch of rows of seats and then a big projector screen where you can, you know, sit down and watch with your friends. It's a super sick experience. Usually around the corner, there's like an artist alley. For the bigger venues, they'll have food on site, which, you know, can vary in quality depending on which one you head over to. You can usually find like the $20 chicken nuggets, the $15 glizzies, and the $10 cookie. The gamer cookies is one that I remember. I forget which major that was. I want to say it was Combo Breaker. That was so funny when I saw. I was like, what do you mean gamer cookies? What's it? And then the lady was like, they're just normal chocolate chip cookies. I'm like, got it. Understood. I'm gonna go get Subway, and they don't
okay. Give you frame advantage.
I know exactly. They don't give me faster reaction times. What's the point?
Like that.
But yeah, I would say it's pretty similar to an anime convention, at least the ones that I've been to, the smaller local ones over here on the East Coast.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Like I feel like I've been like spoiled when it comes to anime conventions, because it's like around here, it's like they're all really close to each other. It's like, you know, and a lot of them are concentrated in the East Coast. So it's like there's like Otakon, there's like Colossal Con, there's like Zenkai Con, like and they're all just like, I'm like, okay, 2-3 hour drive away, whatever, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like in the fighting game community, it's like there's events out in the Midwest, you know, and then there's only a handful of events. There's like, you know, a few in the Midwest, you know, a few in the West Coast. Got to go to the, you know, and there's like maybe a sprinkling of like 1 or 2 on the East Coast that are not as big as the other ones in the Midwest or West Coast. So I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna actually have to actually travel for this shit.
Dude, I can't believe the Midwest. I can't believe Illinois in particular has 2 majors, which is what I originally thought. And I was like, oh man, that's so nuts. I can't believe they get 2 majors. And then I flew out to Las Vegas from the East Coast, and I was like, you know what? Worst case, if they ever moved Evo over to the Midwest, I wouldn't be too mad, to be totally honest. That flight cost clapped me. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, no, traveling sucks. Like that's my thing. I like going places, but I hate traveling.
I love being there. I hate
Yeah.
getting there.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like whatever like crazy person is like who loves like flights and road trips. Like I don't understand it. Like there was one time I think like the longest drive I ever took was all the way down the East Coast to Florida for spring break. And everyone was like,
God,
"Oh,
it's a long drive.
it's the you got to do like the all American road trip experience,
It's like no, we don't.
Yeah, it's like everyone has done it at one point. You got to experience it." And I'm like, well, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why don't I do this? And it's just like it was like an 18-hour fucking drive, bruh.
Yep.
And like we were taking a convertible, and it was
oh no,
it was in March. It was in the middle of a blizzard. We got stuck in a blizzard
God.
in Virginia, and it was like 1 a.m. and because we wanted to drive through it all night. And we made it all through in one trip. We didn't stop, so we just kept going, and we cycled like seats and stuff. So it was awful.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. After this, I'm like,
I don't need to relive the American experience ever again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like
I feel naturalized as a U.S. citizen now. I'm good off it.
Yeah, no, like I was like that's like I don't know what people find appealing about road trips. I'm like, this is awful.
Unless you're like literally Final Fantasy, 15 with the boys?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Unless you're on a quest to literally slay the seed of evil, I feel like, it can get real inconvenient for long drives cramped in a car. Like, obviously you get to stretch your legs every so often, you get to talk with the homies, but also it's like, even for an average 5'4" fella like me, it can be pretty cramped in a car for an extended period of time.
Like I'll say if I ever do like a drive like that again, it would have to be like in an RV or something.
Yeah, something.
That's the only way I think you could actually like do it comfortably.
Exactly.
100%. But no, I'm excited for ECT. It's on my home turf. It's a 2-hour drive, very very easygoing. And I figure it would be a nice like middle of the road size event for me to go to, because like I'm a big fan of like the mid-size events. It's not like
the regional,
too small,
like regional major boundary ish.
Yeah, it's like it's not too small, but it's not like so big that you're waiting like 6 to 8 hours in line for your badge. Because I heard the waits for like Evo badges were like insane.
Dude, that's why I just went late. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm waking up late and just gambling."
like that stuff's insane to me. Like I went like the only big convention I went to was like Otakon, and I waited 6 hours in line for my badge. Yeah, I waited 6 hours in line for my badge. This was pre-reg on Thursday, not even the first day. Yeah, this because they basically did like a pre-convention badge pickup day. Where you just go and pick up your badge. And that was on that Thursday. It was a 6-hour wait. Like 5-6 hour wait.
You would think that would like save time, because it's like, oh, let me divert the traffic so that not everyone is going on the morning of the event. And then nope.
Apparently wait stay up were even longer. I forget
really?
what
it got worse.
Yeah, I forget what year it was. I think it was 2015. I think it was like the year before they moved to Washington D.C.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it was the year before, because the Baltimore venue was getting too big, too small.
I see.
And it was like, but it was like a nightmare. And then it's like when you're there, it's like there's lines for everything. You don't really get to talk to people all that much. There's a lot of crowds you have to sift through and stuff. But it's when you're at a small event, you can kind of go through everything a little too quickly. But it's like you get that nice like middle of the road event where there's like a nice amount of people. There's a fair amount of people, fair amount of stuff to do. Everything's just right. And like it's like the Goldilocks story. Kind of for me. It's like
Exactly.
all right. That's like where I'm comfortable. Like in terms of anime conventions, like Zenkai Con's that event for me, because it's semi big. But it's there's a lot of space in the venue to move around. There's a fair amount of stuff to do, and it's not so small that like you go through everything in like a few hours. Yeah. So that's something I'm very excited about.
Hell yeah. The middle of the road is nice. You know, you have enough people that like worst case, if you run out of conversation with someone, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna go meet so and so on the other side of the venue. You have a good one, you just walk away. But it's not, small enough, or what's it called? It's not big enough that you're getting lost in the crowd, which is pretty nice. I will also be over there at East Coast Throwdown. So if anybody
Oh,
is pulling up in the chat, feel free to, say hi to me and Ember. I don't know if Ogre, what are your travel plans for the rest of the year, I guess?
I am maybe going to Taku.
Okay.
And I am also maybe going to ECT. I'm not sure for either of them yet.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll be at both, so hopefully I get to see you one more time. We met up I think we saw each other at Evo right before pools. And
We
then,
did.
multiple days later, I saw Crispy Cthulhu. He was like, oh, new favorite picture of Jaytsu just dropped. And it's like a cut off picture of like just my head reeled back. And it was from our conversation at pools, but I cannot for the life of me remember what we were talking about that had me JoJo posing like that. I'm like, what was I saying?
I can't
do you
remember
just
either.
casually JoJo pose? Like, is that just the Jaytsu way?
So yeah. I gotta keep the flexibility up, stay young at all times. Oh, let me find this picture because I need to show you. Crispy Cthulhu does not exist. Okay, it's like PCD Crispy or something. I'll find it.
All right. Yeah, I cannot remember what we were talking about there either.
Yeah, right.
Because it was just like right before pool started. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Though I do gotta ask Jaytsu, I noticed you've been like on that commentary grind hard with Idol Showdown.
Mm-hmm.
What? Tell us about this game.
Idol Showdown is a fun ass Kusoge VTuber fighting game that is free on the Steam store. If you guys want to look up Idol Showdown, it is a free download. Very much encourage it. Whether you're a VTuber fan or a fighting game fan or anywhere in between, I'm a big fan, mostly because, obviously outside of just being a fighting game dude, I also quite enjoy VTubers. I think they're an interesting entertainment medium. That's kind of almost like the 2.5D. Yes, it's like, oh, you're playing a character, but obviously, yourself kind of shines through when you're playing that personality. So I had always assumed that those two hobbies of mine would just be like two separate things. Like, okay, cool, I can put VTubers on my fight stick or on my snack box, and if I see someone at a major who has an Alira charm or happens to have like an Ina fight stick, I can be like, oh, cool. And we kind of nod at each other and then go our separate ways. But when Idol Showdown dropped, I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's going to be another fan game. Maybe a few people will play it, but it's cool that people are working on this regardless. And then as it picked up, I feel like the launch and then the teasers, the marketing before the actual debut of the game was really good. There was a lot of hype generated on it. And then because it was free, because it was rollback, I feel like those are the golden words over here in the FGC, right? It's like, oh, well, if it's free and it's a small download, I might as well try it out. If it's got a rollback, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew up in popularity. It was super sick. And I wanted to commentate it just because, oh, cool, the VTuber fighting game would be, it's a cool intersection of my interests. And then as I got more into the community, I realized how attentive the devs were with patching, trying to get new content in. And even on that launch week, dude, they were patching multiple times per day. They were like getting clearer recorded voice lines from the actual Hololive talents themselves. So like the glow up of this game in the past, like the time has passed by so fast. I feel like it's only been out like 2 or 3 months, somewhere around there, like for the summer. They they've been doing such a great job. They got support from the talents themselves playing it on stream, so it's just been super fun. And I think like being one of the voices for Idol Showdown, as far as commentary goes, has just been super fun seeing the whole journey all the way through. Even with Strive, right? I was playing it since launch, but I didn't get into commentary until like maybe 9 months or like a year into the game's release.
Yeah.
So seeing it from the start has been this like really fun journey, kind of cheering on the devs. And being like, if you guys ever scroll down my Twitter, you'll probably just see me like ranting and raving about Idol Showdown. Bros, we got the frame meter, baby. We're so back. We have wake up reversal options in the training mode too. We got spectator lobbies, baby. We're so back. And it's just been fun to kind of support them and also get to talk to some of the devs. They're like, oh yeah, this is a Watame color palette. Oh, our lead combat designer tries to keep his Oshia secret so that nobody is like, oh, this character's broken because they're your favorite. I'm like, I get it, I understand. And getting to meet them at Evo was super sick, and really, I feel like solidified me as someone who is an Idol Showdown fan, because they were just super nice. I was like, oh, thank you guys for all your hard work. This is such a cool intersection of my hobbies that I really never thought I'd get to experience. And they were like, dude, we've seen you commentating some of our stuff as well. So, thank you for helping us support and bring us off the ground as well. I was like, no problem. No problem. Like tears in my eyes. I'm like, yeah, you got it, dude. Love the game. Thanks for your hard work. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, I mean, did you try the game yet, Ogre?
I tried it when it came out, and it's fun, but there's too much nonsense for me.
There's a lot of nonsense.
There's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, I
it's
have
very
not.
Kuso.
I have not tried it. I have not tried it yet. I mean, Jaytsu. I mean, you're already talking very highly about it. Give me 5 reasons to try out this game.
5 reasons.
All right. Reason number 1, it's free. Reason number 2, it has rollback. Reason number 3, it has cool anime girls. 4, I would say the combo system, despite the fact that it can be pretty long, the combos themselves aren't like super complex. If you've played any, team fighters, so like Dragon Ball Z or like Marvel, it kind of follows like that Magic series, light, medium, heavy type of style.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. Was that 3 or 4? I think that was like
4.
4.
That was 4. All right, number 5. Number 5, I would say the dev team is constantly updating with bug fixes and patches. So, sometimes with the larger AAA games, you can be like, man, I sure hope we get a patch soon. Oh, I sure hope the
like we're now with Arxis.
Oh, I sure hope the marketing team, responds to my 15th tweet about this issue that's been going on. I feel like for Idol Showdown, there's literally a Discord. They have a channel called IS Inquiries. And then, within 1 to 3 days, you're generally able to get a response either from someone in the community who's like, oh, okay, here's how you fix this bug. It's pretty quick. Or from the devs themselves being like, yeah, this is on our list. We're trying to figure it out. We're working on a couple other issues right now, but this is on the roadmap. So thank you for bringing it up. And seeing those things get fixed and get addressed so quickly is really refreshing, even if it's, it's just a silly, funny side game I play. Oh, cool. I'm glad that the community and the team behind it are in such good communications that you can bring something up and it gets addressed super quick.
Sold. I'm sold.
Sold.
That's number 5, baby. Welcome to Idol Showdown.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, Jaytsu, tell us, how did you find out about VTubers?
How did I find out about VTubers? So
yeah,
it is funny. I think I had like hinted at how it happened in one post. So there's a picture of me with a Coronet sprite, with a Coronet cutout of the sprite from Idol Showdown. And I think the way I captioned it was like, oh, had to pay respect to the doggo that got me into VTubers. So during the pandemic, which I think is where a lot of people started picking up on VTubers, and the whole scene as a whole picked up a lot of popularity for obvious reasons. Everyone's at home, they got to find new entertainment. So as I'm scrolling through YouTube, looking for some self-care or productivity or coffee brewing tutorials, all of a sudden, one of the things that popped up on my feed was a Coronet clip. So, the doggo girl from the Japanese side of Hololive. So I was like, this is interesting that they would recommend it to me. Let me check it out. And from the translated clips that I was able to find, I was like, oh, this is pretty funny. How does the model move like that? Like, I was so interested not only by the personality, but even the technology behind it. I was like, oh, why? How is the PNG moving like that? Isn't an MP4 on loop? No, it looks like it's like tracking the mouth and like the volume and everything. That's super sick. So looking into it a little bit more, watching some more Coronet clips, eventually I figured out what Hololive was, found out what VTubers were, and then once you watch like 2 or 3 clips, and then all of a sudden your timeline is just flooded with VTuber content.
Yeah, the algorithm
the rabbit
just
hole quick.
fucks you. Yeah,
it does.
It just fucks you. Yeah,
it latches on.
And it was so appropriate that VTubers popped off on a time where like the world was just collectively going insane, looking up like how to bake yeast and shit, like bread baking shit.
Everyone wanted to make fucking sourdough. I was like, what?
Yeah, and we're running out of like toilet paper. It was so appropriate. Yeah. Like, just listen, anime girls take over when the world's like going nuts.
It's true.
That's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Ogre, have you what was your first experience with a VTuber?
I think it was also a Korone clip that I saw
Let's
just
go.
on YouTube, and then I just started to watch Iron Mouse a lot on Twitch, and then just got into the whole VShojo stuff, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Iron
like
Mouse is pretty great. She does a lot of service like for various communities, so it's cool to always see her like, touch down. And I feel like every 1 to 3 months she's like running a huge charity event, just giving back, which is super awesome to see.
it is really awesome to see. I love her. She's cool.
Big fan. She's also an
Yeah.
incredible singer. If you guys haven't heard anything from Iron Mouse, feel free to look up, Iron Mouse cover on YouTube. You'll probably find a couple of compilations, and she has a pretty amazing voice, I gotta say.
It is really she does sing extremely well.
She's the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think my first exposure to VTubers, I mean, it was through YouTube clips, obviously. Like I feel like that's how everyone kind of first found out about it. But my first VTuber I was like really exposed to was Mori Calliope or Calliope, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Classic,
yeah. I think I forget what like exactly what the clip was, but I remember she was like having this like super motivational like talk about like how like, oh, if you want to do something, you got to go in and do it. You got to go in and like if you want to stream, you got to stream. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this is like, I'm like feeling fired up. I'm like, this is cool. And I was also like really at the same time really impressed by like the avatar. I was like, okay, I'm like, how is that working? Like I was very fascinated with the technology, and I'm like, how does this work? And then I just kind of took a week and I just like kind of learned how like a VTuber avatar works. I fucking like I had no money, so I didn't really like I wasn't able to like commission an avatar or anything. So I just like booted up fucking there's a program called Vroid where you can make like a 3D VTuber avatar. Yeah. So I made my first avatar there, and it was really janky. It's a lot better now, but it was really janky back then. And so I did that, and I bought like a $20 webcam that I was doing tracking with, and it was just like, it was terrible, but it was so cool just to like, I was like, oh my god, I'm making this like VTuber avatar, and it moves and it speaks when I speak. It's like, it was kind of like, for me, it like fulfilled the dream of like voicing an anime character. Cause like, I always had a dream of being able to do like a voiceover for like a anime character, like being able to voice an anime character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would meet a lot of voice actors and stuff, but it's like, I talked to a lot of voice actors behind the scene, and I would ask them about breaking in, and it was just like, it's a steep road. It's a steep road to
steep
climb.
Learning curve.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work you gotta do just to, even book your first audition.
Like basically, a lot of them told me like, hey, a lot of these people were on Broadway before they got on, fucking Pokemon or some shit, And that's just is what it is. And I'm like, I could try that, but that sounds like a lot of effort and maybe some money in acting school that I don't have.
Yep.
So it's like,
so what's my first step? Just get on Broadway. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm like, and then when VTubers came out, I'm like, oh wait, I'm like, this, I can like voice an anime character, and that's what led me to making like Ember. And honestly, I just kind of like threw a bunch of like character designs on the dartboard. Like it wasn't really that intentional. Like, I know a lot of people, like, when they design their character, they're like, oh, this was inspired by, like, my past, whatever, and we'll have lore behind it. I never had that. I was just like, oh, I'm like, this looks cool. This looks cool. This looks cool. Okay, I'll put it all together. And for my like, current model, that was actually, I didn't even design most of that myself. Someone, an artist I was a big fan of, called DM Demon. He helped me design the outfit and everything, because I'm like,
nice.
I'm not that creative.
Yeah.
So that was dope. That was dope. But yeah, I mean, it's the technology and everything is really cool, and that was like kind of the big draw for me. Like the content itself, like I didn't get too hooked to VTubers. It was like I like watched a bit of Calliope because like I don't know, she has this internet dad energy around her that I like.
She does, yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that apart from that, I didn't watch like a whole lot of others. I mean, like obviously there's Romola. We all watch Romola, but like
classic, yep.
But that's about it. In terms of like my VTuber consumption, because like there was like a lot of indie VTubers I like would used to watch. Like the indie scene's massive, by the way, for VTubers. Like there's a massive indie
There's
scene.
a lot
like,
of them.
Oh my god, it's so big, but it's it's almost like overwhelming.
Wait, now that you mention it, okay, bringing up Romola. So I did happen to get to meet her at Combo Breaker, which was cool. There's a story behind it. You know, as I was walking over, I was like, oh, cool, it's Romola. Let me introduce myself. And it was, I want to say like Saturday night, everyone's like drinking in the lobby. So it's just a bunch of different groups of people. So as I'm walking by, one of the people that I had met earlier in the week is just sitting by a table nearby. So I'm walking over and this person kind of flags me down. I'm just like, oh, hey, like, nice to see you here. They're just like, dude, are you walking over to Romola? I'm like, yeah, I'm probably just gonna go say hi, like, you know, just introduce myself and then make my way back to my homies. And they're like, can you give her this for me? And then they just like pull out a plastic tube from their pocket. I'm like, well, what's going on here? What is the deal? And they're like, I rolled a joint for Romola. Could you deliver it for me? I'm like, you are 20 feet away. Why don't you just walk it over yourself? It seems like you've been here for a minute. What are you waiting for? And they're just like, no. Just say it was for me. I'm like, all right. Okay, yeah, sure. So I take it, I walk over. It's like, hey, Romola, nice to meet you. I'm Jaytsu. She's like, oh, you're the guy from the sticker. I'm like, yes, I am the guy from the fuck that Jaytsu guy sticker, or that I love that Jaytsu fellow sticker. That's me. She's like, oh, cool, nice to meet you. I'm like, okay, so I have this Fallout New Vegas style courier quest for you. She's like, what do you mean by that? And I pull out the plastic tube containing the joint, and then she's like, oh my god, yeah, you're right. This really is a Fallout side quest.
This is a Fallout.
And I'm like, I cannot, confirm or deny whatever, the safety of the contents in here. So, be careful with it. It's not from me. It's from the person over there. I point over and they're just looking. I'm like, oh, God. What are you making? You're like staring right now. What's going on? And she's like, oh, yeah, that's pretty funny. Okay. And then, for those of you who don't know, there's a bit of a meme, I guess, in the LGBT community that Fallout New Vegas is a pretty popular game for trans women. It's a pretty popular game in general, but also particularly in that space. So she was like, "Oh, so Jaytsu, you a fan of Fallout New Vegas?" I'm like, "Miss Romola, you know how loaded of a question that is." And she's like, "Mm-hmm." And I'm like, "Okay, well, that being said, I quite like the game." She's like, "Oh, I see." And then I just walked away. I was like, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not like that. And then I went to go drink with my friends. So that's my Romola combo breaker story.
That definitely sounds like a Romola experience right there. Oh my god. It's gonna be so hyped going to ECT meeting everybody.
Hell yeah. That's the kind of random encounters you get just like hanging out in the public spaces of like a regional or a major. If you guys are ever headed to your first one, anyone in the chat or Ember too, if you have some downtime and you're not in any particular rush, just hanging out in the lobby, just like seeing who passes by, or especially, if there's like large events or people just hanging out in the lobby on the evenings of, it's cool to just like be in the ambient space of everyone just like passing by and seeing what happens. You can kind of run into some funny encounters. I think during Get On My Level, I was up in Canada like last month. I was just sitting after getting Tim Hortons with a friend, and then another TO that I know passed by and he was like, hey, we're gonna go get poutine. Do you wanna go get breakfast? I was like, I just ate. And they were like, so is that a no? I'm like, no, I'll go with you. I'm down. And we ended up getting poutine, just walking around the city for a little bit. So it was cool.
Huh. Yeah. So I would say this. Yeah. Like, I mean, what are your beginner tips for people going to their first major?
Ogre, you go first. I gotta think for my answer. I feel like
beginner tips for going to your first major.
Like, what were some things you wish you knew before you went to your first event?
Let's see here. Prepare to wait in lines, I guess.
Oh no.
Yeah, lines are a huge thing at majors.
Oh yeah.
For everything. Yeah, for badge pickup, there's like artist alley, like lines are everywhere. For food, the bathroom lines are horrible at majors. I think that's a big one. bring your own water if you can, because venue water is extremely expensive.
Oh yeah.
Or the cups are very small when they happen to offer it for free. So, you know, you don't want to be carrying around this like 6-ounce cup and then refilling it every time all the way across the venue. If you can bring an empty water bottle on your plane or on your train ride over, it will definitely help you throughout the actual day at the venue. It's worth it.
Absolutely.
What else? I mean, you know, this is basics. I feel like everybody in this Twitter space probably doesn't need to hear this, but for anyone who hears it later, please shower. Please use deodorant.
Please shower.
Not only for other, like, don't even think about it as like, oh, don't smell for other people. Think about it selfishly, right? If you finally get to meet this person, you've been talking to them on Discord, you know, you're like e-dating, whatever. You finally get to meet them at the major. You're like, oh, I'm so excited to meet you. And then they smell you before they see you.
Oh,
it is, you know, it's bad. It is possibly one of the worst first impressions you can possibly have. And one of the best things about, you know, going to these in-person regionals and majors is getting to meet people and like network with them, put names to faces. And if their first impression of you is like, oh, yeah, they're really cool, but I had to end the conversation early. Oh, why is that? Bro, they smell like ass. They've never seen Old Spice in their life. And it's like, oh, man, that sucks. So you don't want to put a damper on your in-person experience, you know, with people, you know, saying that stuff behind your back. So be careful, you know, be strong about the showers and deodorants, and make sure that you're heading over fresh when you make your way to the venue.
But you're losing the advantage on the whiff punish.
Oh my god, I do not want to be whiff punished ever in my life. I do not want to be punished for people getting a whiff of my scent. I will never live it down, like truly.
Yeah,
it's a competitive advantage. I don't know.
But if it's at the end of the day and it's like an event in the summer and you're like walking back and forth between places, like I get it. I'm not gonna fault anyone for like, you know, natural scents. Like it happens. People sweat. It's all good. But in the beginning of the day, do your best,
like before
to start off strong.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, like it's all good. We're all fighting for our lives by 9 p.m. Don't worry about it. But also pack gum. You know, it can be cool. Sometimes you need coffee or food to make your way through the major experience, but it takes a little bit of a toll on your breath as well. So if you're the guy with a bunch of packs of gum in your bag, you know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, you're my goat. Thank you."
Oh, it's like high school over again.
Exactly.
It's like you're like, hey,
yo, you got gum?
And
I got you.
Gum.
It's free clout. It's so easy. It's free engagement.
It's free engagement.
Basically, yeah, basically.
Farming engagement for in-person Major Blue.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. But what I have to say too is I'm sure y'all have seen it. Honda's horrible hootenanny,
That's worst an event of all time.
Tournament ever.
No!
Yeah, I announced that earlier this week, and it blew the fuck up.
It did, yeah.
I didn't expect it because like I remember when we did like the Happy Chaos tournament and we only had like 40 signups and like
it was mostly Guilty Gear heads.
Yeah. I was like oh, like, you know, it's probably gonna be like the same amount of people. Right now we have 223 signups. There's still 5 more days left to sign up. This isn't counting the last minute signups that you,
which is always like 25%.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so like listen, basically all that's happening is I asked the TOs, I'm like, listen, I'm like, are we gonna put a cap on this? And they're like, fuck it, we ball.
We
going as.
I mean, are you prepping? What's the prep looking like? Oh yeah. Is it single elim?
It's single elim. Yes.
There's whatever. We ball.
Yeah,
no cap.
Yeah. And there is. So the rules are eHana only. No connection tests. All regions. VPN/Wi-Fi encouraged. Which, by the way, I actually did get a NordVPN affiliate link for people to buy their own VPNs. I'm literally selling off the weapons to war. I'm gonna make a post about that. Yeah, I'm gonna make a post about that in a bit.
That's so funny.
Like switching's encouraged. Low-end hardware friendly. So, you know, if you have like a really crappy computer, you know, been having a hard time running a game, you know, this is a tournament for you. You know, it's just for you guys. You know, I mean, a lot of people complain about like hardware slowing down the game. I mean, that's like a solid, you know, that's a solid plus for that. yeah, first one, no losers bracket, as we said. Bargaining is allowed. Gotta let the TOs know, so if you want to do a gentleman's agreement to play like fucking Mario Kart or something, you could absolutely do that. Someone talked to me about that being a possibility.
Gentlemen's to Mario Kart, gentlemen's to Strive.
And cheating is allowed. So if you wanna do some delay, get some coaching, account sharing, whatever, dirtiest player wins, winner takes all. Now all I will say is what my comment about this tournament, I have never seen an event where people were so enthusiastic to support the TOs. Listen,
Let's
go. All I'm gonna say is, some of my TOs have been taking bribes. One of them's getting paid 80% of the prize pool.
If they win?
No, they're getting paid 80% of the prize pool up front before
Damn!
anything. Yeah, so they're like,
Wow.
so yeah, some of my TOs are like making a lot of money from this, and I'm like, what? I'm like, listen, I'm like, go get that bag, it's
right.
It is what it is.
Okay, when you list out all the rules like in voice form, this really is horrible. Holy shit!
Cursed.
Yeah,
it's so cursed.
That's awesome.
And of course, if I'm gonna put up the contest when the same time I put out the VPN post. Worst and most cursed tournament setup picture posted in New Head Discord gets $5. So.
No, that's incredible.
And I mean, there are people. There was one person. Like, we've been getting some DMs here and there over like people's setups. There's one person, they're like running like some kind of program. Like, literally, they send us a photo and it was just a bunch of like Windows terminals with code running. Which, when you see that, that spells trouble. Yeah, and apparently they're like running code so that it deliberately delays their game. So they have to like play on a separate setup in order to actually watch the game. So it's like, there's gonna be some real curse shenanigans going on with it. I hope it's nothing that ends up triggering the game's anti-cheat and getting people banned. But you know what? What I'll say is it will test the limits of the game, and I'm sure Capcom will be watching with a close eye, thinking like, how are people gonna break the game?
Yeah. Do we want to allow our users to play with NordVPN? That's the real question.
I mean, that's the real question there for sure. But listen, we're gonna be selling it. I got a link, I got an affiliate link with a discount. So you'd be stupid not to take that link. If you're.
I'm saying.
Yeah. No, 100%. And you want to get that advantage with the lag.
The Nord users were so back.
Yeah,
we're so back.
So back. It's just everything about this tournament is great, and it also just like kind of validated. It just validated a belief I've had about just like tournaments and esports for a while. I just feel like everyone takes themselves too seriously, and it's cool to just do something that's just like so balls to the wall that like it just literally took everyone's attention. Because I feel like a lot of people running brackets now, they copy paste each other's like role sets and stuff, and I just think there needs to be more like variety. Like I know we have like ladder brackets, like there's the Let's Rock ladder, which is really cool.
Casa does their Street Fighter 6 ones quite a bit. I don't know if they still do Strive ladders. I think they do, but I know they've been doing ladder brackets for quite some time.
Yeah. And like anytime we have like an invitational or like a team bracket, I feel like everyone does them. Like I feel like everyone signs up for them. Like I definitely want to see more like crazy format stuff, and also just like really balls to the wall tournaments too. Like more meme tournaments. Like I hope this tournament inspires more of these types of tournaments, because I feel like it's kind of what like the scene needs. I feel like the scene needs a little more like goofy stuff, a little more fun stuff, and stuff that kind of appeals to a more like wider casual crowd than just like the esports crowd. Like there is like kind of like there is a space for that, and like the standard brackets are always fun, and there's a place for it, and standardized rule sets are like in many ways like necessary, and especially just having all those events is definitely necessary. But it's like part of me feels like oh, you know, like we could use definitely a little more like I guess a little more pushing the boundaries of what we're allowed to do, you know, that sort of thing. You know, not you know, doing something that's a little more risque, you know, and not being, you know, paranoid about sponsors or anything like that.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
just
There's a lot of room to, you know, obviously improve in the standard brackets. Like, oh, people are leveling up their overlays, their setups, how they run their tournaments like time after time. But like you're saying, right, there's an entire other side that's, you know, for the most part, pretty unexplored of like, oh, how do we have like a wacky tournament? How do we even branch out into team tournaments, which are really fun? I know that you know, I heard yesterday there was some format shenanigans going on with a certain team tournament. But you know what? It's one of those things that it's like, okay, we got to try out these alternate systems and see what sticks, see what's fun for the players, see what's, you know, reasonable for TOs to be able to try and run and kind of find that balance of like, oh, okay, this is a wacky, silly rule set. But if everybody involved is having a good time, you know, there's a space for that where it's not just, okay, double elim bracket, first to 3. In the finals, first to 2 for the rest of the bracket. You know, like you're saying, there's a lot of room to try some new stuff.
Yeah, like it's been. I feel like it's just been feeling very routine. You know, I mean, what is your perspective, Ogre, as like a player?
As a player, I think I've liked pretty much every format that I've played in. I like the ladder stuff. I like the double elim. I like it all. As long as, you know, the tournament is run well and stuff, I have no issues.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean that's solid. Yeah, I mean like I have been like trying to compete more. Because I've been just I'm finally confident enough in my skill and strive where I can like start running brackets and stuff.
Nice.
And I mean the best I did is I got 17th out of 50 in prize fight 6 and flash kicks. I think like 2 weeks ago.
Let's go.
Yeah, I did really fucking good. The only two players that took me out was Kid Dracula and CPU, which are both like
that's pretty good. Eno Faust, right?
Yeah. No, and they're both like really no. Actually, no. CPU was playing
Asuka, right?
Yeah, Asuka. Yeah. CPU switched to Asuka, which I did not expect. And both of those matchups are like big trouble matchups for me.
Dude, that character's evil. He's getting hidden by all the femboy like catboy memes. Dude, I recently learned what Exodia is. You go into test case 3, you get the auto regen on mana, you get auto refill on your cards, and you just start, you know, playing the fucking Shadow Wizard Money Gang OST, and you're cooling. You just play spells for free for like 10 seconds. I'm like, this is insane.
You know, Asuka's evil. Yeah, Asuka's evil. Like I struggle with that matchup. There are some people, they keep telling me like, oh no, the matchup's easy. You just gotta like hit the cubes. But I keep getting hit by the cubes. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
I keep getting hit by the cubes. Just hit the cubes, dude. The cubes are hitting me. The cubes are beating my ass. What do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a matchup that I feel like a lot of people still are getting used to experience-wise. You know, one, because the servers, you know, have been a little bit on and off, and also because Asuka's pretty complex, right? It's still taking the player base time to learn the character himself, like learn how to play it, and then, you know, there's obviously some delay in learning the counterplay afterwards. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Because it's like it's kind of like Faust, where you have to know like what the cards do.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Asuka, he has a lot more. I feel like Asuka has more cards than Faust has items, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I feel like Faust only has like 4 item types, or at least like 4 that you need to know. But it's like with Asuka,
some of them are kind of, you know, non-effective to the gameplay state, but Asuka's literally got the whole fucking alphabet of cards.
Yeah, and it's like it's so hard to learn. It's like it's a matchup you literally have to like sit down and learn, and like I don't know. I haven't been damned enough to like crack open the wiki and read up what every single card does, but I'm getting close to it. You're
thinking about it. You might just succumb to the dust loop real quick.
Yeah,
I feel like, you know, breaking it down into categories definitely helps. There's like 30-ish cards, like 26 to 30 cards, depending on the test case, right? So it can be like, oh, I have to learn all of these in particular. But you can kind of split it up into, oh, here are the cubes. They have different properties, you know, but a lot of them are to take space or, you know, contest on the screen. There's like the silly funny ones, like the teleport, obviously. There's like the single DP. What else is there? There are the staffs. They have like effects, and then they have the opposites of them. So I think they come in pairs. There's like the gravity, and then the repel one, etc., etc. But it's still a lot to learn. It is much easier to learn, in the context of the matches rather than just looking at Dust Loop. But even with the context, like it's just a lot to try and digest.
Oh yeah, no, it's a hell of a matchup. I don't think I'm going to assume they didn't make any changes to him in season 3 because he came out so soon.
I think his 2D has less range.
Oh, okay. That was an evil button. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I think I've seen. I think I've seen a screenshot of it, and it has less range.
He still has Exodia. I'll tell you.
Yep, he still does have that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm assuming they kept him mostly the same because like they did that to Sin.
He's still new.
They did that to Sin with the balance patch. They're like, oh, Sin came out so soon, even though when they released him, he was like garbage. They're like, oh, Sin doesn't need help. And meanwhile, he's like sitting, like fucking drowning, and it's like he's not even gonna throw the dude a life raft just to like stay afloat. Nah, us Sins were left to drown all for the rest of season 2. Really sad.
Pain. It's okay. Now he's got the hurt box retracted. He's got some faster frames. Hopefully, he's doing a little bit better in season 3.
I mean, this is my mindset with it, right? It's like when I've been playing Sin a good part of season 2, right? And it's like I'm used to playing Sin with him being absolutely garbage and his frame data being absolutely garbage. So when the patch drops, it's almost gonna be like in Naruto when like Rock Lee drops his weights, and it's like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna cook now. Because remember when like Faust
his frame delay and now he's cooking, yeah,
like remember when Faust was like garbage and like when the season 2 patch dropped and like all the Faust memes were like fucking cooking? That's what I'm excited to see.
I miss the old days. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Pixelated and myself, we're gonna be climbing. We're gonna be climbing in season 3. Like I'm actually kind of excited about that because I'm like, all right, because I do believe in like people who like when they stick with their low tier characters and those low tier characters get buffed. It's like, ooh, those players just start like really clapping back. Like,
hell yeah,
it's. I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. But yeah. And another thing I wanted to talk about. I mean, obviously, it came up again this week. The Hacker Man situation. Hacker Man. So I know. Our 2v2 new head event got hit by them, and then they started hitting a bunch of other streamers. So that was that was crazy. I know they are working on something. But that was all they communicated. It just always seems like this issue that just keeps coming back. It's like oh, it's a couple months and then Hacker Man hits back. I don't know if it's because he just like gets bored and then he just like, all right, let me like fuck with these people, and then like he stops for a few months and then we get comfortable and then he hits again, or like what? Like shit's so crazy. And it's crazy that's like it's an issue that's been like a thing for like almost a year and a half now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been like a year.
Yeah. I mean, has your stream ever been hit, Ogre?
I have never been hit by Hacker Man.
No.
You sound sad about it. You sound like you are
I'm a bit shocked. I'm not gonna lie, because he hits like everyone.
Yeah, you've been streaming every day.
Yeah, and he just never hit me. I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hacker Man respects the honored Ogre grind.
I guess.
Yeah, it's like they have certain opinions. I do know. I remember like, I think like when Diaphone was getting hacked, he said like, oh, if you are a May player, you like stop hacking or something like that, and then like he stopped for a second. I don't know if it's like it's like a really weird thing.
Yeah, it's
funny. It's toggleable. He used to say like Zawarudo. He was like, yeah, that's my assist call. Can you slow down the game when I say Zawarudo? And then he did it as he was getting comboed. He was like, holy shit.
Yeah. And like one time Kizzy K was getting hacked and he just asked the Hacker Man, he was like, yo,
please.
Yeah, he was like, can you just not do this right now? So the Hacker Man just stopped. Yeah, he just stopped.
You just gotta ask nicely, bro.
Oh my god. But it's just, yeah, I'm hoping they come up with a fix for that soon, because like it would suck for like season 3 to come out and for like Hackerman to be like a wrench in that, you know what I mean? Um and it's so crazy. It's like it's so mysterious too, because like I've never really seen any other game have an issue like as big as this with like a hacker, or like we don't know if it's like a hacker or like a group of hackers. You know,
yeah, it's very up in the air. It's easy to assume like that it's one dude, but also like, oh, was the security, what's it called? Was the security vulnerability patched earlier and now they're finding a different exploit? Is it the same one as before? It's hard to say if we don't know the actual network infrastructure that's getting exploited. Maybe it's a different one every time, or maybe it's the same one and they're just really having difficulty trying to figure out how to fix it. But either way, I do not envy the dev team or the PR team or any particular ArcSys employees in trying to deal with that issue, but hopefully we're able to figure something out. I know I saw Junior F reaching out and being like, please send us, we know that you sent over evidence before. We just want to confirm if it's the same issue or a different issue. Please send over all the info you can, video evidence, specs of the computer, if there are any mods. We get it. It probably doesn't affect anything, but just to make sure it's replicable,
yeah,
please let us know. So I'm like, okay, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah,
is what I'll say.
I think what they're trying to do is like I think they are aware that like Hackerman is a thing. It's just like at this point, it's like okay, I think they just need evidence of like of people's games getting crashed, error messages, stuff like that, so they know exactly how it's working, how they're taking advantage of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because the more evidence they could get of like all the errors, all the crashes, all the stuff that happens, the more documentation they have, the more they can suss out like, okay, this is how they did it, or how they can replicate it, or something like that. I mean, I have a theory about it. So like
a game theory. Sorry.
I know. So I know like rating update. Like how rating update, and I know rating update's been broken a while, probably because of the security patches and stuff. Just kind of keeping people, like, I'm sure the security patches probably prevented them from going through the API or whatever. But so on rating update, rating update is actually open source, and if you look at their GitHub, they have like a program that literally connects to the Strive server API. My theory is that Hackerman probably took that, rewrote it so that, he probably rewrote it so that it went around whatever security stuff or patches there or whatever holes they're patching, and just abuse that to probably like overflow an R code or something like that. Essentially do like a DDoS type attack, because it does kind of act like a DDoS with how like it just lags people, like it just lags and crashes. It kind of almost acts like a DDoS in a sense. So like that's just something I noticed about it, and a theory I have, because it's like okay, how is this person just directly connecting to the game? And that's the only way, and it's like it's open source. It's right there. Like, hey, you can connect to the Strive API using this open source program. Maybe he's rewriting a form of that program to do that.
Yeah.
So,
I'd be interested to see if they ever like actually do a deep dive of what happened. I would imagine, because rating update only read data, right? Using the API from the game. I would be surprised if you'd be able to reverse engineer it so hard that you're actually able to write data to the server. I don't know, maybe like you're saying, it's overloading it with read requests to the point where it lags out the game like a DDoS, but I don't know, it's hard to say. It's hard to tell over here. Hard for me, because I'm a silly, funny, project manager guy. I don't know anything about cyber infrastructure. I talk about the funny game over Discord. So it's hard for me to say, but hopefully we're able to find a fix sometime soon.
Yeah. I'm hoping for it too. It's been a long
little
time
bit
coming. Yeah, it's like, and the timing's bad, because it's like you got
season 3.
Season 3. Street Fighter. You're competing with Street Fighter 6. There's other games coming out. There's like there's going to be other options soon. Because I feel like for a while, like Strive has been kind of like the big kid on the block, so to speak. Like with COVID and like and them having like the best like rollback code and stuff at the time. they were kind of like the big kid on the block for a good while. And now that you got like Grand Blue versus Rising coming out, you have Street Fighter 6, you have Tekken 8, you have MK1. Well, they got to really step up the plate, and that includes, their netcode. Because it's not even just a hacker. I just feel like the lobby system in general just sucks dick.
Yeah, it gets a little rough. Has never been good.
Yeah, because like even though there have been like some performance enhancements or whatever to it, like honestly, like I feel like especially jumping on ranked, it takes me like way longer to find a game than like in Street Fighter 6, because it's like you'll get disconnected from the dual station, or you'll go to a dual station's broken for whatever reason, and then like you have to like, or you try to connect to someone else and then it denies you the connection. And I feel like I'm cycling through like 3 or 4 people at least before I actually get to a match. Like
you gotta fight for your life to play the video game.
Yeah, that's been my experience. I mean, has that been more or less your experience, Ogre?
I actually have never had too many issues with the matchmaking in Strive.
Dude, Ogre's blessed. You didn't get hacker, man. You didn't get DC'd with the
hacked.
You're the Arxis golden child.
Yeah, even like with the peak of people having issues with Strive and matchmaking, there was just I've only ever had like one time where I looked for a game for 30 minutes and couldn't get it. But that was only one time. Every other time I've been able to get games pretty consistently. Like I just go to training mode matchmaking, and then it just works for me.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, it just works.
Why you have to be mad? He's just server. I don't know. Ogre's simply the favorite child over there at Arx's game.
I mean what about
this fella?
What about your experience, Jaytsu?
I don't really play Strive like terribly often these days. It's fine when I play in lobbies with friends, but I don't really use a lot of the like online matchmaking too often. So hard for me to say. Pilled? I'm a little Idle Showdown build. I'm a little SF6 build. I'm Hollow Cure build. I don't know if you guys know about it. It's basically like a Hollow.
I've heard about it.
It's a Hololive Vampire Survivors game, and they just added fishing and farming. So my brain off. 2-hour video essay on.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Someone gave me Vampire Survivors for my birthday.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a hell of a game. It's definitely one of those games you just kind of like. You start it up and you're like, wait, it's 2 hours. What the fuck? What
exactly. That's what happened to Sage. It was funny seeing like the sped up GIF. He's like, alrighty there, chat room. It's time to start up Vampire Survivors. And then you just see his face gradually go into darkness. He like hasn't turned on the lights in his room. He's just still playing Vampire Survivors. He's like, oh, man, look at that.
I love seeing that for the first time.
It's so good.
Yeah. No, that game's fun.
Yeah.
What a heckin' game. But yeah, speaking of which, it was my birthday on the 17th.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was spending it sick.
Let's fucking go. Oh no, never mind. Let's not go. It's over.
Oh no.
Let's not go. Well, I'm glad you're healing up now. Are you gonna do anything belated for your birthday now that you're feeling a little better, or what's the deal?
So I'm going to. So I'm gonna get myself some sushi.
Let's go.
And I'm also going to go to. Have either of you been to a round one?
I think so. Is it a barcade?
Yeah, it's an arcade.
Yeah.
It's less of a bar, more of an arcade. It's not like Dave and Buster's. It's more like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's more like just like dedicated gaming, like, and they do have like fighting game setups too. Like they have cabs with like they have like Ultra Street Fighter 4. I believe they do have Street Fighter 5. They have Blaze Blue, and a whole bunch of other games. Like they have. I think they. I don't know if they have Guilty Gear. I'm trying to remember. I don't think they have Guilty Gear because I feel like I would have played it, but
right.
But no, it's they had a good bit of selection there. They have a lot of like Japanese like arcade games you see in Japan, like a lot of import rhythm games, that sort of thing. My big thing is what first and foremost, I love going in for to get like as many tickets as I can.
Yeah.
And like the best strat for it, if you're ever going into a round one, you go to the coin pushers. Go to the coin pusher games. You get so many fucking tickets from it because you can I've
seen them pour out. Yeah,
they're nuts. they're also really cool too. It's like because it's like a mechanical thing too.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
I love the mechanical aspect of them.
Yeah,
Like
it's cool to watch even if you're not playing.
Yeah, Coblin sold me very hard on the coin pushers, and now I'm coin pushing and winning tickets. So
You're
every time I go
coin
there,
push pilled.
I'm coin pusher pilled. But so every time I leave there, I like walk out with a bunch of tickets and like a small prize or something. Like I got like a little like Shiba Inu plush last time I went.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And the time I went before that, I got a tech deck, so I got both of those on my desk
A
right now.
tech deck? Holy shit! I haven't heard that in ages.
Yeah, no, they're like really fucking good fidget toys. I love them.
I didn't know they existed still. To be honest.
Yeah, no, they're still a thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I am excited to make my comeback at round 1.
Let's do it. Hell yeah.
And if either of you have never been to one, I highly suggest you go to one because they are so much fun. And they do have fighting game setups, so you can play like fighting games there too.
Dude, that's sick. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one maybe 45 minutes to an hour away from me. I'll try and make some plans to do it before the summer closes. Sounds like a damn good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be the one I go to. I'll send you the location I go to.
Hell yeah.
Because maybe we'll meet up.
All right, nope.
But yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about too, because someone told me this yesterday that it's weird. Do your controller preferences change based on like the fighting game you play?
No, I'm lazy as fuck. I just have the snack box and I can just put that shit in my backpack. I'm big chilling. I do not want to have to swap between them.
Yeah, they don't for me either. I have the tricks,
because for me it's been like I've been playing Street Fighter 6 a good bit too.
Okay.
And like I prefer stick for Street Fighter 6.
Oh really?
But with Strife I prefer pad. And people are telling me that's weird.
Do you know why you think that, or it just like works better with your brain, you think?
It works better for my brain. It's just like with so it's like with Strive, I guess like I've been trying to figure this out myself. It's like with Strive, I feel like everything's a lot more fast paced, everything's very tight. And because of how fast paced and tight it is, I prefer pad. Because it's like, okay, I can throw out inputs faster. I can, react quicker. Everything's kind of in the palm of my hand. But like in Street Fighter 6, I enjoy. So first of all, I really enjoy the novelty of having like an arcade stick set up.
Yeah.
And maybe this would change if I got a snack box like you. And I'd probably just go snack box for everything. I don't know, but because I do really like the novelty of like having the stick and the buttons and everything, like old school arcade cap shit.
Yeah.
Like I do like that novelty. That is a good part of it. But it's like in Street Fighter 6, I feel like it's a preference too, because it's like it's definitely a much more slower game. It's much more about like patience and about like pacing yourself and just having like a controller where like the buttons are bigger and like I'm kind of like just something that discourages me from mashing, to be more deliberate with my buttons, I think is why like I kind of prefer that over like.
Damn, that shit is about patience for you guys. I am drive rushing from full screen every time. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
So what rank are you?
I think I placed in diamond and then dropped down to plat, but I'm a drive rush addict. It's
man.
So cursed.
Your placements put you that high?
That's what I'm saying. For Kimberly, they put me in gold, and then I picked up jury afterwards, and then they placed me in diamond. I was like, I don't know if I should be up here, so I haven't made my way back into diamond. So I would say plat is more accurate.
The placement system's very weird because it's like I definitely do feel like it places you a lot higher because like I remember when I started playing Ken. So I mean, first like 1 or 2 characters I tried out, it placed me in bronze, which I'm like, okay, that's about right. I'm just starting out. I do my placements with Ken, and I go through a whole bunch of sets. I completely bully this bronze 4 player for like my last 2 sets. I lost my first 2, so this is losing my first 2 sets. They put my Ken in gold 5.
Oh no!
And
question mark?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why I did that. So So since then, I've been like losing a shit ton. I went down to gold 1. I trained and lapped a bit, and I'm winning more. Now I'm at gold 3. So you know, I'm moving my way up slowly but gradually.
There we go.
And I think Ogre, you're rocking the master rank, aren't you?
Yeah, I haven't played
right,
in like over a month. It's been a while since I played Street Fighter.
So
6,
how did you place high so quickly?
Let's
He's
see
built different.
Here.
He's the gifted child of Capcom and Arxis.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, I placed into like gold 3 or something with Blanco. And then I just climbed my way from there.
Wait, damn, that is a long ass climb.
That's a long climb.
You're
I just
a gamer.
climbed.
Jesus.
Yeah, listen. I mean, listen. Out of all the people here, Ogre's all about the ladder climb, all about the ranked climb. Like, I have never seen anyone so dedicated to the ranked climb like Ogre is.
That's why my goat.
For real. But I know, like for me, like I'm wondering because it's like for me, I just feel like going from Strive to Street Fighter 6 just feels so steep in a sense that like it requires more patience. It also requires like it requires learning like footsies and shit. Like how did you take that in so quick, Ogre?
Blanca ball.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. You don't gotta learn if you don't need it.
Yeah, he does play very different from the rest of the cast.
Row.
Yeah. Like that, like neutral and everything is just a lot different with Blanca compared to someone like Ryu, for example. Like it's completely different with him.
No, honestly, that's very fair.
Yeah.
But grats on the climb and grats on the master rank.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, what are your opinions on modern controls?
Modern controls? I think they're cool. We saw a modern control player at top 6 at Evo, so
we did. Like
they're viable.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of questions over whether or not like modern controls were viable because there was a lot of people in the beginning who were like, "Oh, I think there was a theory that like people were like saying like, "Oh, if you play on modern controls, you do less damage or whatever." I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
I think it is. Yeah. You do a lot less damage on supers. I think for certain combos, it's a little bit different. It depends on what exactly you're doing that has that damage reduction. But there is a flat damage reduction from what I can tell. Whether or not, you think that that's more valuable to have easier, one button DPs, one button invul, or even like one button supers to be able to react better in stressful situations, especially in Street Fighter 6, where there are so many things you have to look out for at the same time. Reducing any of that input delay, thinking about how to input something or having to do the quarter circles forward can actually be pretty huge, as like we've seen at the Evo top 6. I think it's very interesting seeing a different tool set that people thought would be objectively worse doing very well on the main stage. And I wonder what the balance discussion is going to be moving forward, because I know for some matchups it can feel very difficult to try and make your way in and open someone up when they have that one button DP. I think even was it Big Bird on the Marissa? He's been trying out dual maining classic and modern Marissa, depending on the matchup. So I think that's been super interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah, it's definitely like a very new way to like approach a meta. Like having like modern controls like that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like modern controls have been such a big thing in fighting games recently. Like I know, I think Granblue versus Rising's gonna have it. I think. I think
no motion inputs.
I think Project L is just straight up modern controls. Like I don't think they actually have an option for classic controls, from what I understand.
It's true. I have heard the people who play it though say that there's still executional complexity in it, which I'm glad to hear.
Yeah,
seems like they're still enjoying it.
Yeah. I'm sure like if you have like modern controls, there is still like that layer of like complexity of like having to execute and knowing when you have to execute on a move.
Yeah, exactly. When to do something.
Yeah, when something's safe and when something not, because it's like I see that shit in like Street Fighter 6 ranked all the time. Like I'll go against like a modern player and it's like they'll just be mashing out stuff and just throwing unsafe moves left and right and going by the auto combos and live by the auto combo, die by the auto combo.
Fella is not looking at the screen.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting, definitely, to see how that like pans out, and especially in discourse, and especially in like in terms of like how things will be shifting. People people are also wondering like, oh, does this mean we're going to be moving away from classic controls or anything like that? And that is and that is like a really interesting concept, like because a lot of people like want to see more, I guess, of a mainstream presence with fighting games. People want to grow the FGC, and like the big thing that a lot of developers look at when it comes down to like growing a game or like growing the scene is, I guess, making the game easier or more simpler to approach as a beginner. Because for the longest time, everyone would like look at a quarter circle and like be like, oh, fuck this. So that's like something that's like really interesting to me, and seeing like how that's gonna play out over the next couple of years, because I feel like we're like in a very big turning point with fighting games, and we're also like, I feel like we're also like in a new golden age of sorts, with like Street Fighter 6 kind of being this, having this big explosion that it's having right now. And I'm just very curious to see what the next generation of fighting game players will look like, with these modern controls. And some of them might be taking most of their learning just from modern controls and not even learning classic controls even,
Yeah.
So that would be that's it's just going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I think Street Fighter 6 really did it the best, in a sense of like, you can make a fighting game that's like approachable for beginners and not have it be like goo goo gaga baby like simple, because I feel like that was like kind of the big discourse for a while, is like people will talk about like, oh, the new fighting game's always like so like simple. But I feel like with Street Fighter 6, like I feel like there's a lot of complexity with Street Fighter 6, but like it's also like probably the most approachable for new people. Like I'm pretty sure like even my grandma could play like Street Fighter 6, because it's like, because you can boot up dynamic controls even in like local versus.
I think something interesting to think about as far as like accessibility and breaking into the mainstream, especially for newcomers. I know a lot of people, especially fighting game devs, have been like, oh, we need to make the game more accessible. We have to make it easier to do cool stuff. But I think an interesting approach that Street Fighter 6 and Idle Showdown have taken is kind of focusing back into the single player modes. I know I'm not familiar with the NRS scene, but from what I've heard, they have pretty good single player modes. And Mortal Kombat, obviously one of the biggest IPs in the world, even outside of just fighting games, right? Like it's just something you can mention to someone and they know it. It's like a household name, and they probably played it at some point. And I think a big contributor to that is having that single player content. Like, okay, a lot of us in the fighting game community are playing and buying fighting games so that we can play it with our friends and compete in brackets, right? But that is a subset of the amount of people that are buying and purchasing a game, right? Sometimes, oh, this game is so cool, this game is so sick, oh, but I don't want to enter brackets, I kind of want to just play it on my own after I get back from work, and have a fun time doing that. But if all the game has is play versus CPU, go into the arcade mode and then watch a 8-hour story cutscene, and that's the only single player experience you have until you go into the online, it's like, oh, okay, I don't know if I want to spend $60 to play this game plus all the DLCs. But for example, for Idle Showdown, one of their single player modes is called Virtual Frontier. So if you guys have ever played like Slay the Spire or One Step from Eden, it's basically a roguelike mode where you're kind of going through these various encounters, and then you gather items. Obviously, you get stronger and try and finish the run. But it's very interesting to see that from a free game that's been so engaging, not only for people who are just picking up the game, but even like the talents, the HoloLive talents who are playing the game. They're like, wow, Virtual Frontiers is pretty fun,
that
without
actually
having
sounds fun as hell.
Exactly. It's super sick. If you pick it up,
that's gonna sell the game for me. That actually sells the game for me. I'm actually,
that should have been point number one.
I'm actually like very big on single player modes. Like I did all of World Tour in Street Fighter 6.
Dude, I was gonna say World Tour was a banger. I saw so many people playing it. Even HoloLive Niji Sanji, when people were picking it up, they were having a blast with World Tour. And I think the interactions that you get with those characters, like Juri being like an absolute bitch to you, or Chun-Li being like your mentor, it's very cool and a way to build out those characters and their personalities that isn't through win quotes or the intros of the game, or going on to dustloop.com and figuring out like, oh, what's the lore behind this character that's, you know, been in the game series for 18 years. No, you just play the story mode and then Jury punches you in the face. You're like, oh, I guess that's how it is, you know, with this character. And it's a fun way to get to know the IP.
And it's so funny how World Tour single-handedly turned around Luke's reputation.
My God.
Like,
dude,
like
World Tour
like,
and Alex Lee have made Luke like a household name. It's so
yeah,
awesome.
like everyone, like it was so funny leading up to the game coming out. Everyone's like, "Man, I hate Luke. Luke sucks. Why did they put Luke on the cover? They should have put Ryu on the cover. Why? Luke's so stupid." And then like, and then the game comes out. And then, you know, all these clips come out of like of Luke just being a goober gamer, you know, like
it's time
just
to get
like
to work.
just like you.
Sandblast.
Yeah, and then like and then Alex Lee just like being a memer, and then everyone's like,
Love
you know what, Luke's all right. I'm down with Luke. It was like everyone just 180'd on Luke so fast after the game came out.
He saved that character's reputation. It is
He
incredible.
really
He
did.
has a story. One of his tweets, he was like, yeah, I was talking to one of the directors. We were doing a recording session for Luke, and he was talking about the win quotes. And he was like, oh, yeah, I wanted to, you know, put in a little bit of flair, you know, some authenticity, and something that the FGC would like. And he was going through the win quotes, and he was like, oh, Mr. Director, can I put in a custom one? He's like, oh, what do you want to put in? He's like, can I have Luke say, let's go, like as a win quote? And then the director was so confused. They were like, why would they say that?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's like, let's go is like, oh wow, I did such a great job. He's like, but where are you going?
Yeah, where's
the match is already over. He's like, no,
It's a
just trust me, please.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a translation div. He's like, no, just trust me. They're gonna love it. Like, please let me record it. He's like, all right, I'll trust you. And then the line in the game is pretty good. Luke is a very likable character in SF6, and I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about that. But yeah, World Tour was great. Also, the extreme game modes were really fun. Yeah,
they're
just like
funny.
All the extra game modes with like the bull run and everything, and all like the arcade style mini games too that like are sprinkled throughout World Tour. Like there's one where you have to like perfect parry basketballs that are thrown at you. And
you fight a fridge.
Yeah,
you fight
a fridge. And it's funny because like each of them kind of teach you to deal with like certain concepts. So like it teaches you muscle memory. Like one of them's called Hado Pizza. Where you do motion inputs to make pizza, and if you do the motions right in like consecutive order, you get like a shit ton of points. So
that's so godlike.
Yeah, so that that teaches you motion inputs, and then there's one where you cut bottles, and you have to do charge inputs to cut the bottles. Yeah, so it's like a karate chopping mini game.
Yeah, you gotta fool the player base into learning sometimes in an entertaining way.
And it's like so creative. I've never seen any other fighting game do it like that. You know, they will just which I mean, I would definitely say like having a very well explained tutorial is the best way to get new people into the game before anything else. Like, and I think Street Fighter 6 did it very, very, very well. Because I feel like with Strive, their mission mode was done so well, and I feel like that's kind of the very thing that like brought so many new people to Strive more so than just like the game being simplistic. You know, the fact that they had a mission mode that was so well explained, and you could start playing the game and not have to go to outside resources. It's like probably the most groundbreaking thing about like Strive that brought in new people. Because I think there is this like conflation of people thinking like, oh, the game has to be simpler in order for new people to get into it, and I think that's not really true. Like in some ways it is. Like of course having the game be simpler and easier to pick up is good. You know, requiring less like crazy bunk tech to be learned, but also it's like, you know, I think more important than that is just having a tutorial that explains everything very well and does not require you to have to look at outside resources, because most people won't do that. Like the majority of people will not do that. You know, most of people won't go to Dustloop like we do. You know, and And even I was talking about Asuka earlier. It's like I'm even reluctant to boot up his freaking dust loop to look at what the cards do because I'm just fucking lazy.
You're an avid player of the game, right?
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
just shows how high that barrier to entry is. But I feel it's exactly like you're saying, right? It's kind of like the small brain, big brain meme. Small brain is like, oh, let's make it more accessible by reducing, the requirement for motion boots. We'll just take them off from the game. Level 2 is like, oh, okay, keep them in the game, but have a good tutorial that shows the players when to use these things, how to do them, and why you might use them in an actual match, right? That's level 2. Level 3 is fooling them into learning when they don't even realize that they're playing the tutorial. Like, oh, let me fight this filing cabinet that's throwing papers at me in a specific pattern, right? And what are you learning from that experience? Oh, how do I get over projectile zoning that's keeping me at the full screen? Oh, can I jump in? Oh, if I time it wrong, I get hit. But if I time it correctly, I get a jump in, right? Those are these like subconscious lessons that you're learning, but it sticks in your mind and you're not even thinking that you're being taught a tutorial because you're like, oh, I just want to beat the shit out of this filing cabinet. So mission mode in Strive is very good, but the only detractor that puts it a step below World Tour in my mind is that you have to pick mission mode and decide for yourself, oh, okay, I'm gonna learn more about Strive today, which is not a bad thing, but Street Fighter 6 just does it so well by incorporating it into World Tour.
Yeah, it's like you're not even thinking about it.
Yep.
And even if you want it to like say sit down and learn, there's still really good options. Like they're Street Fighter 6 combo trials are really good. They're set up very well. Like they even have like descriptors that like just like mission mode that like describes like, hey, this is what this does. This is what this move does. And this is what this combo does.
Like the character breakdown, like in the game, it's very good.
It's so good. So they even have like a mission mode similar to like kind of like Strive, where like it's just like, oh yeah, this is the character. No, well, there's two separate things. There's the character guides, and then there's the combo trials. Yeah, they're two separate like categories. So it's like if you want to try out the fundamentals, you can do the character guide and then do the combo trial after. Which I've been doing that to learn characters, and that's been like actually pretty helpful. So that's it's just solid, and I'm excited. I'm just excited to see how Street Fighter 6 does. It's looking like a banger. Capcom World Cup, the freaking $1 million prize pool.
$1 million.
Yeah, but I would say like we're at like an hour and 42, so this is probably a good place to kind of wrap things up. You got any closing words? Anything you want to plug?
After you, Ogre.
You can follow me on Twitter at Honored Ogre, and I'm also on Twitch at Honored Ogre. I try to stream almost every single day, so drop me a follow. I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, streaming every single day.
Hell yeah, on the grind. Alrighty, and if you guys want to follow me, I'm JAYTSU_ over here on Twitter.com. I have my Twitch link, but I haven't streamed in quite a while. But you guys can find me on some Twitch streams and some YouTube streams. Follow me on Twitter to see where I'm going to be commentating next. Sometimes Idle Showdown, sometimes Street Fighter 6, and sometimes, of course, Guilty Gear Strive. So hopefully I get to see you guys for CEO Taku. But worst case scenario, feel free to hit me up and we can have a chat. So that should be it.
And of course, like if you want to my member talks, and if you want to follow me, you can follow me here on Twitter /X, or Ember Talks on Twitch.tv. I'm trying to stream there more regularly now. Especially like with season 3 coming out, I'm actually pretty hyped, and I'm playing in tournaments more too. So I actually am gonna try and stream more, because I'm sufficiently hyped about the game. I also want to get more on that content grind again. So you can catch me on Twitch. And on YouTube, you can catch me on YouTube as well. Ember Talks on YouTube. I upload a lot of my videos on there if you can't catch me on stream. And that's pretty much it. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, that's basically where I'm at. Also, don't forget to follow the New Head FGC Twitter. And I believe there is a New Head channel on YouTube as well, and the podcast episodes will be going on there also, in that little archive. And of course, you can catch the New Head podcast here on Spotify. It's usually where we primarily upload, but I believe we are also on Apple Podcasts too. So lots to go around, lots to check out. And of course, check out Idol Showdown. Jaytsu got me sufficiently sold on it.
Hell yeah, stop by. It's free on the Steam store, so if you guys want to try it out, they got a cool ass single player mode for you guys.
I'm gonna download that shit now.
Sounds good.
Solid. But that's about it for today.
Mm-hmm.
And see you guys. Glad to catch up.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You'll have a good day.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye.